Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with the Rogue Rant. Today I want to talk about housing. It is something we need to have a conversation about. And it's about affordable housing and what makes it affordable. At first, this sounds maybe like a stupid question. Everybody knows obviously that's affordable is something that you can buy with a small amount of money. But there's more to it. And when we think about whether cities or the towns have affordable housing, we have to look at it from comprehensively. Just because one corner of your town has some seedy blocks with rundown houses or cheap apartments where poor people can live without having to turn to homelessness, that does not mean a city has affordable housing. And what that does mean is essentially you have slums. And a comprehensive affordable housing actually benefits both the community and it's not just the cheap housing. What you have to look at is that housing that a person could pay for that's within their price range that will relatively have them feeling safe and satisfied within that housing. An affordable house is probably not going to be someone's dream villa, but it should be a place where you and your family can comfortably live during a time when the budgets are tight. So if you get some unforeseen illness, if you're knocked out of the job for something, some job loss or unforeseen circumstances, you will not lose your house and you feel comfortable knowing that. And I get that poverty necessitates making sacrifices. I think everybody does. Children may have to share rooms. Parents may have to walk to work instead of drive. But a family shouldn't have to choose between a torn or a leaking roof, let's say, and putting food on the table. Affordable housing should be housing that you can reasonably picture yourself living in. Should you fall into a situation where you're making far less money, you'd be hard pressed to find a studio apartment out there for $400 a month, much less a one bedroom or something like that. When I was living here in Venice back in the early 80s, I had an efficiency for $250. You're not going to see that anymore. I think that same one goes for like $800 now. $400 is about what a person could reasonably spend on rent if he or she is out there making minimum wage on a 40-hour-a-week job, which many of these individuals have. And unfortunately, that's still way below the national median rent range, which is around 900. It's been that way for the past few years, and I think that is even low. You're going to be hard pressed to find a one-bedroom apartment or home for $900 a month where I'm at. That's never going to be attainable, and it's not going to be attainable not just for one person, but for hundreds of thousands of people. And you're always going to have homeless. You're always going to have those precariously housed people in a country if we don't increase the stock of affordable housing out there. And that's the bottom line. And luckily, affordable housing has been successfully developed. It's been successfully developed in numerous cities around the country. It comes in many forms. You could take a new building and make a bunch of micro apartments, or you could take a rundown hotel and turn it into housing like the individual did up in Sarasota. Affordable housing also comes simply from thinking creatively. Maybe it means that several families will have to buy or rent one house and live together to save on costs. Maybe it means renovating an attic and living up there at your parents' house. High quality affordable housing is often the result of a good private public sector partnership, where the city government they come in, they can offer tax credits to developers for constructing a certain number of affordable units, or where the government adjusts some codes and ordinances to allow for creative housing options. So instead of adjusting ordinances to build a fancy condo, adjust the ordinance so that you can get affordable housing in there with some tax breaks. That's what we need more of our local cities and counties doing. And I'm not advocating that we break the city's bank or the county's bank building apartments that you're never going to see a return on. I'm just advocating that we build a modest yet quality housing that caters or centers to the low income people rather than just fancy condos along the beach or large single family houses that you're seeing with Nil, with Baroof, and Benderson. We need these developers to start looking at affordable options. Also, we need landlords that will commit to maintaining the houses in a comfortable and safe manner. Houses that they would consider living in themselves. They have to be committed to keeping the units at a fair, affordable price, which will ensure that the families, even with their modest incomes, can live in them. You need more landlords like that. Poverty isn't going to go away. It's going to be here forever. In the most towns and cities, the amount of low income people residing in them is going to tick upwards. And we need that diversity, just like we need the high income individuals. That's what makes a town successful. Diversity matters. Same thing as age diversity, racial diversity. The demographic differences are important in keeping a place viable. And knowing that poverty is most likely the reality for most residents within our cities, we need to think about how we might provide options for these people in those situations. Don't we want our towns to be a place where people from many different walks of life can find a home? That's the question today. What say you? This has been Frankie with